There is a story of a man who lost his job after 20 years. At first, despair swallowed him whole. He thought his life was over, his worth destroyed, his identity shattered. Then, with time, his perspective began to shift. He realized that being laid off freed him from a job that had drained his soul for years. It gave him the courage to pursue a passion he had ignored, starting his own small business. What felt like destruction became liberation. What seemed like a curse became the doorway to purpose. The job lost didn't change. What changed was how he saw it. That shift opened doors to opportunities he would never have considered before. People often underestimate how powerful perspective is in shaping relationships. A couple in conflict can see each other as enemies or as partners who need healing. A parent frustrated with a child can view them as rebellious or as someone crying out for guidance. The perspective shapes the response, and the response shapes the outcome. When perspective shifts from anger to compassion, from judgment to curiosity, conversations change, hearts soften, and doors of reconciliation open. Miracles in families often begin not with dramatic events, but with the quiet decision to see differently. Fear is one of the greatest distorters of perspective. When fear takes over, vision narrows. The brain literally focuses only on the perceived threat, blocking out wider possibilities. In that state, people miss chances, ignore blessings, and assume the worst. Faith, on the other hand, expands perspective. It broadens vision, reminding you that even in the face of threats, opportunities exist. When perspective is grounded in faith, people see open doors where others only see walls. That is why courage is so often the bridge to breakthrough. Without courage, perspective collapses into fear. With courage, perspective rises into clarity. Think of an artist staring at a blank canvas. To some, the empty space looks intimidating, mocking a reminder of what they cannot yet create. To another, the same canvas looks like possibility, an invitation to pour color and life onto it. The canvas hasn't changed. The perspective has. And from that difference comes either paralysis or creation. Life is filled with blank canvases that can either stop you or invite you. The way you see them determines whether you ever pick up the brush. Even science affirms the power of perspective in unexpected ways. Studies in positive psychology show that people who practice gratitude consistently report higher happiness levels, lower stress, and stronger immune systems. Gratitude does not change the circumstances, it changes the lens through which those circumstances are viewed. When you see blessings instead of only burdens, you discover doors that despair kept hidden. Gratitude turns the ordinary into extraordinary. It reveals the miracle in the mundane. God often waits for perspective to shift before releasing the miracle. Think of the Israelites wandering in the desert. They had been freed from slavery, yet they still fought like slaves. Their perspective was locked in fear, in scarcity, in complaint. Until that perspective was broken, they could not enter the promised land. The land was there all along, flowing with milk and honey, waiting for them. The miracle existed, but the door would not open until perspective shifted. In daily life, small perspective shifts create ripples that lead to dramatic change. A student struggling with math might feel stupid and defeated. If perspective shifts to viewing mistakes as part of the learning process, the same struggle becomes a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. That change in mindset leads to persistence, and persistence leads to mastery. The miracle of confidence emerges not because the math suddenly got easier, but because the students saw the struggle differently. Shifting perspective also teaches humility. It reminds us that our view of the world is not the only one. What looks like failure from one angle might look like growth from another. What feels like delay might be divine timing. When perspective broadens, judgment softens. People stop assuming they know the whole story and start recognizing that unseen factors are always at play. That humility opens the heart to wisdom and closes the door to arrogance. It's worth noting that perspective is not denial. Shifting perspective doesn't mean pretending pain isn't real or challenges aren't hard. It means refusing to let pain or challenge be the final word. It means acknowledging reality while choosing to see beyond it. Someone battling illness can admit the struggle is exhausting while still holding the perspective that healing and strength are possible. Someone facing financial hardship can admit the stress while still believing that this season is temporary and growth is possible. This balance of honesty and hope is where miracles often begin. Think of Thomas Edison again, not only for his light bulb, but for his philosophy. When asked about his many failures, he didn't see them as wasted attempts. He reframed them as discoveries. Each failure was simply one more way that didn't work, bringing him closer to the way that would. His perspective on failure opened the door to persistence, and persistence opened the door to invention. The world is lit because one man refused to see failure as the end. In your own life, doors are often waiting for you to see them differently. That disappointment you carry may not be the end of the story. That delay you dread may be setting the stage for something better. That person who hurt you may have pushed you into growth you never would have chosen. None of these things excuse the pain, but perspective can turn pain into purpose. When pain becomes purpose, doors appear where before there were only walls. The human brain is wired to filter information. Out of millions of details available at any moment, it chooses what to notice based on what you believe and expect. If you expect nothing, you notice nothing. If you believe doors are closed, you stop searching for them. If you choose to believe that something good is already unfolding, your brain starts scanning for evidence. It notices opportunities that despair would have ignored. This is why faith is not just a spiritual command, but a practical advantage. Belief shifts perspective, and perspective shifts what becomes possible. In the quiet of waiting, in the chaos of struggle, in the ache of loss, perspective becomes the hinge on which destiny swings. You cannot control every circumstance, but you can control the lens through which you view them. That choice is not small. It is the very choice that separates despair from hope, paralysis from action, emptiness from growth. So let your perspective rise. Let your mind expand. Let your heart choose to see possibility where others see dead ends. If you dare to shift your perspective, you may find that the miracle you thought was far away has been standing right in front of you all along, waiting for you to notice the open door. There is a mysterious rhythm to life that often frustrates the impatient heart. People ask for blessings, for healing, for breakthrough, for love, for stability, and yet it seems that nothing moves as quickly as they would like. Days turn to weeks, weeks to months, and silence lingers like a heavy cloud. That silence often makes people believe they have been forgotten, but in truth, silence is often the soil where preparation takes place. When something divine is about to break into your life, it rarely comes rushed or reckless. It comes like the seed hidden beneath the ground, doing its invisible work long before the green shoot pierces the surface. There was once a woman who prayed for years for her child to overcome addiction. Night after night she cried out, wondering if her prayers hit the ceiling and fell back down. Friends told her to give up hope, to accept the reality as permanent. Yet in that hidden space, change was forming. Her son was wrestling with shame, broken relationships, and inner battles she could not see. Years later, he walked into her living room sober, trembling but free. The miracle came not when she wanted it, but when the time was ripe. The waiting carved into her a deeper compassion, a resilience of faith, and a humility that could never have grown without those silent years. What felt like wasted time became sacred ground for transformation. So often people resist the waiting because they mistake delay for denial. A teenager who longs for confidence in themselves might feel trapped in shyness, while inside them, the very struggle is shaping empathy and thoughtfulness that will make them a powerful leader one day. A man losing everything in a business collapse might feel cursed, while in reality, the experience is equipping him with resilience that no classroom could teach. Waiting seasons are never void. They are sculptors chiseling away the unnecessary, making space for what will endure. Think about the story of Joseph in ancient scripture. Betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and forgotten in prison. Every chapter of his life looked like abandonment. Yet what was invisible in those moments was preparation. He was learning leadership in the house of Potiphar. He was learning wisdom in the silence of the cell. He was being positioned for a role that would not only save him, but save nations. The pit did not cancel the promise, it positioned it. And when the miracle finally arrived, it did not come as a random stroke of luck. It came as the unveiling of what had been forming all along. Psychologists studying resilience often notice the same pattern. People who endure hardship develop qualities that those without hardship rarely build. Endurance, empathy, creativity, problem-solving, and inner strength are forged in waiting seasons. The mind learns to adapt, the emotions deepen, the heart expands. Pain can become the very training ground for wisdom. What feels like delay becomes the teacher of strength. Without that formation, blessings can become burdens. Someone who receives success without preparation often crumbles under the weight of it. Someone who receives love without healing can poison the very relationship they long for. The wait is never wasted because it builds the foundation to carry what is coming. A young athlete dreams of making it to the professional level. He trains, sacrifices, pushes his body beyond its limits, and yet rejection comes season after season. He watches others succeed while he remains in obscurity. To most, it looks like failure. To him, it feels like heartbreak. Yet in the hidden years, his discipline is being forged, his character is being shaped, his identity is being tested. When his opportunity finally arrives, he is not just talented, he is grounded, humble, and unshakable. The miracle does not come too soon, because too soon would destroy him. It comes right on time, because time has prepared him to hold it. In nature, timing is everything. A fruit picked too early is bitter. A butterfly forced out of its cocoon before its wings are ready will never fly. A field planted out of season will not yield a harvest. There is a sacred order woven into creation that whispers to us that waiting is not punishment, it is alignment. The universe itself moves in rhythms, in cycles, in seasons. What looks like stillness is often sacred timing. Fear creeps in when people mistake stillness for abandonment. A person praying for a partner fears they will be alone forever. Someone battling illness fears the healing will never come. A family drowning in debt fears they will never recover. Fear narrows vision and convinces the heart that silence means absence. Yet wisdom reminds us that silence often means preparation. Faith says that even when nothing appears to change, everything is moving beneath the surface. The roots are growing deeper before the tree stretches higher. I once read the story of a man who survived a plane crash in the wilderness. For days he wandered, freezing, starving, and hopeless. Every night he thought he would not make it. Yet each step, each painful moment of waiting for rescue, built in him an appreciation for life he had never known before. When he was finally found, the miracle was not just survival. The miracle was the transformation of his soul. He said he no longer feared death, no longer took time for granted, no longer wasted days on anger or pettiness. The waiting, though brutal, carved into him the ability to live fully. That is the hidden miracle of time. It changes you before it changes your circumstances. Waiting also reveals motives. Many want blessings, but not all are ready to handle them. A person may ask for success, but if their heart is filled with pride, success would destroy them. Waiting strips away false motives, confronts hidden shadows, and exposes what lies beneath the surface. It forces people to face themselves. And facing oneself is often the hardest but most necessary miracle of all. Even from a scientific perspective, delay can strengthen the outcome. In research on goal achievement, delayed gratification consistently shows higher success rates. Those who learn to wait, to discipline desire, to resist the urge for instant results, end up achieving more sustainable and meaningful success. The waiting rewires the brain to value process over impulse, growth over instant pleasure. When the miracle finally comes, it is not squandered, it is cherished. There is a story of two farmers in a drought. Both prayed for rain. One sat in despair, cursing the sky, doing nothing. The other continued to plow his field, prepare the soil, and ready the land for rain. When the storm finally came, only one was ready. Waiting is not passive, it is active trust. It is plowing the field even when the clouds are empty. It is preparing for the miracle as if it is already on its way. That is why some breakthroughs come suddenly, and yet they were not sudden at all. They were the result of years of hidden preparation. When a singer stands on stage and the world calls in overnight success, they do not see the years of unseen practice, the endless rejections, the lonely nights of doubt. When a business takes off and everyone calls it luck, they do not see the sacrifices, the failures, the tears behind the scenes. Miracles appear sudden, but they are often the fruit of long waiting seasons that felt like silence. The heart of this truth is simple, yet hard to accept. Waiting does not mean nothing is happening. Waiting often means everything is happening. The surface may look still, but below it life is forming. Just as a child grows in the hidden womb, unseen yet undeniable, so do blessings grow in the hidden chambers of time. You cannot see it, but you can trust it. You cannot predict the exact day, but you can prepare for it. People often give up moments before the breakthrough. They let the silence convince them that nothing will change. They abandon the field when the rain is near. They quit the fight when the healing is close. That is why perspective in waiting is so critical. If you can hold on through the silence, if you can trust through the unseen, if you can keep faith alive in the drought, the doors will open. The miracle will come, not too soon, not too late, but at the appointed time. What makes this even more profound is that the miracle is often bigger than what was asked for. A woman praying for a child may become not just a mother, but an advocate for families. A man praying for healing may become a healer for others. A young person praying for direction may become a leader guiding many. The weight enlarges the miracle. It stretches the heart so that when the blessing comes, it overflows beyond the individual into the lives of others. That is the beauty of divine timing. It is not random. It is not careless. It is strategic, intentional, wise. It prepares you not just to receive, but to carry, to sustain, to multiply. The waiting carves space in your soul to hold what is coming. When the door finally opens, you are not the same person who began the wait. You are ready. So if you find yourself in the silence, in the stretch of waiting, let your heart take courage. Do not mistake delay for denial. Do not let fear convince you that nothing is moving. Trust the unseen process. Keep plowing the field. Keep showing up. Keep believing. The miracle is not absent. It is forming. And when it comes, you will understand why it could not have arrived any sooner or any later than it did. There comes a time in life when the waiting has to meet action. Faith is not sitting still with folded hands, staring at the sky, hoping something drops down. Faith is movement, it is preparation, is stepping forward even when you cannot see the whole path. You cannot expect God to steer a ship that refuses to leave the harbor. If you want the miracle you've been crying for, you must be willing to align yourself with the very doors that are about to open. Miracles are not passive events. They are encounters between divine timing and human readiness. Look at history, and you will see this pattern over and over. Every great breakthrough was preceded by a step of faith. Noah built the ark before the rain came. David stepped onto the battlefield before the giant fell. Rosa Parks sat down on that bus before the law shifted. None of them had guarantees, none of them had certainty, but all of them had movement. The miracle always required someone to step. Sitting still in despair locks the door. Rising in faith, even trembling, turns the key. There's a truth that makes people uncomfortable. Your habits are either preparing you for your miracle or pushing it further away. If you want healing, you cannot treat your body carelessly and then expect strength to just fall into your lap. If you want financial breakthrough, you cannot continue living without discipline and think abundance will sustain you. If you want love, you cannot walk around with walls so high that no one can climb them and expect deep intimacy to find you. Every step you take is either saying, "I am ready," or "I am not yet ready." Miracles are drawn to readiness. This is why preparation matters so deeply. When you pray for rain, you better dig the ditches. You better ready the soil. You better act as if the clouds are already on the way. Preparation is a statement of faith. It declares to the universe and to God, "I believe enough to make room." A farmer who leaves his field unplowed while asking for rain is not waiting in faith, he is waiting in fantasy. Real faith puts hands to work even when the sky looks empty. Some people are waiting for confidence to show up before they act, but confidence is built in action. You grow courage by doing the thing afraid. You build wisdom by stepping into the unknown and learning along the way. You cannot wait until you feel ready because readiness rarely comes before movement. The miracle meets you on the road, not at the comfort of the couch. If you refuse to take a step because fear whispers, "What if you fail?" then fear becomes the master of your life. Fear thrives in stillness. Faith thrives in motion. Think of a child learning to walk. They do not wait until their legs are strong enough, balanced enough, or steady enough. They wobble, they stumble, they fall, they cry. Yet in that movement, muscles strengthen, balance forms, and steps become strides. The same principle holds true for adults in their journeys. Growth happens in movement. The miracle of walking is born in the courage to wobble. Science affirms this reality too. Researchers who study motivation often talk about the activation energy needed to begin. The hardest part of any task is not the task itself, it is the act of starting. Once the body and mind move into action, momentum builds. Energy is released. Neural pathways light up. The very act of starting shifts the brain from paralysis into power. This is why taking one small step is often the most miraculous moment of all. It is the step that defies fear and opens the floodgates to what comes next. Spiritually, the pattern is just as clear. The Red Sea did not part until Moses lifted his staff. The walls of Jericho did not fall until the people marched. Jesus told the man with the withered hand to stretch it out before the healing manifested. Action was always the precursor. The miracle required human participation. God moves, but He moves with those who are willing to rise. This is where many people miss it. They are waiting for doors to open without even walking down the hallway. They are praying for opportunities while refusing to sharpen their skills. They are longing for love but unwilling to heal their own bitterness. A door cannot open if you're standing miles away from it. You have to move toward it. You have to prepare yourself to recognize it when it does open. Opportunities rarely look like miracles at first glance. They often look like work, like risk, like effort. Only those who step into them discover the treasure hidden within. Do not underestimate the power of discipline in this process. Discipline is the language of commitment, and commitment is the soil where miracles grow. Waking up early to care for your health, saying no to destructive habits, saving money instead of wasting it, learning skills when no one is watching. These small daily acts are statements of readiness. They whisper to heaven that you are serious, that you are not just wishing but willing. When discipline meets divine timing, breakthroughs are sustained. Think about athletes again. They do not prepare for the championship on the day of the game. They prepare in the silent mornings, the exhausting practices, the unseen sacrifices. By the time the spotlight shines, the miracle of victory is already inside them. The performance is just the unveiling. Life works the same way. The breakthrough will not come when you are unprepared to hold it. It comes when you have proven through small acts of consistency that you can sustain it. This is why fear of failure must be confronted. Failure is not the opposite of miracles. It is often the pathway to them. Every failure is a lesson disguised in pain. Every misstep is a teacher shaping resilience. If you let failure paralyze you, you miss the doors it was pointing you toward. People forget that the light bulb was born out of thousands of failed attempts. The airplane was born out of repeated crashes. The miracles we enjoy today were carved through countless failures by people who refused to stop stepping forward. Do not wait for permission to move. Too many waste years waiting for someone else to validate their dream, to prove their calling, to confirm their worth. No one else holds that authority. The spark inside you is already proof that you were designed to move. Waiting for permission is another way of saying fear has the steering wheel. Take it back. Begin where you are with what you have, and trust that as you move, the path will reveal itself. Momentum is a mysterious force. Once you take a step, the next step becomes easier. Once you open your mouth, words flow. Once you lift the weight, your muscles respond. Movement compounds. Miracles ride on momentum. If you stay still, rust forms. If you move, strength builds. Do not despise small beginnings, because beginnings are always small. A single drop builds the river. A single brick builds the house. A single choice builds the future. Preparation and movement also protect against fear's favorite weapon, regret. The pain of trying and failing is heavy, but it is not nearly as heavy as the pain of never trying at all. Regret whispers in old age. It lingers in the quiet nights. It haunts with the words, "What if?" Taking a step, even if you stumble, frees you from that weight. It gives you a story, a lesson, a memory. Regret grows only in stillness. Miracles bloom in action. Some might say, "But I don't know where to start." The answer is simpler than most think. Start anywhere. Start with the smallest step in front of you. Start with organizing your life, with reading a book, with reaching out to a mentor, with moving your body, with saving $1, with practicing kindness. The smallest step forward is more powerful than the biggest dream left untouched. Miracles attach themselves to movement. The size of the step does not matter. The willingness does. Faith without works is dead. That is not just scripture, it is reality. Belief without action is fantasy. It sounds good, it feels comforting, but it produces nothing. Faith comes alive when it is paired with steps, with risk, with tangible movement. When you move, heaven moves with you. When you sit, the doors remain locked. Your miracle is waiting, but it will not chase you into your comfort zone. You must rise to meet it. You must take the risk of stepping out, even shaking, even unsure, even imperfect. Every giant who has ever been slain was defeated by someone who dared to step onto the battlefield. Every dream that has ever been realized was born because someone took the first trembling step. The world does not remember those who stayed seated. It remembers those who stood. So get up, move, prepare. Act as if the miracle is already on its way. Make space in your life for the blessing you are asking for. Shape your habits so that you can carry it when it comes. Do not let fear keep you paralyzed in the shadows. Do not let excuses whisper you into inaction. The doors are waiting, but they will not open unless you are standing in front of them, ready to walk through. You are not powerless. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. The very breath in your lungs is proof that you are still in the fight. Your miracle is not running from you. It is preparing for you. But it will meet you in motion, not in stagnation. So rise. Step forward. Take the risk. Do the work. Trust the process. The miracle you have been waiting for will not pass you by. It will find you moving, ready, and unstoppable. There is a beauty to life that often goes unnoticed because people are always rushing toward the next thing. The miracle they seek is not always waiting at the finish line. It is often unfolding quietly in the present moment, whispering through small details hidden in ordinary days. Many miss it because they are so focused on tomorrow that they fail to see the sacredness of today. Yet the truth is that miracles are rarely only about the destination. They are often about transformation during the journey. What God sends into your life is not just meant to change your circumstances, it is meant to change you. When we talk about miracles, it is easy to think of them as external gifts, a healing, a financial breakthrough, a reconciliation, a door opening that was once closed. But the deeper miracle is always internal. It is the shift of the heart from despair to hope. It is the healing of bitterness into forgiveness. It is the awakening of courage where fear once ruled. Those inner miracles are often more lasting than the outer ones because they shape who you are rather than just what you have. Think about someone who has endured hardship and still smiles with gratitude. That smile itself is a miracle. It is the evidence that suffering did not destroy them, that grace held them, that life did not crush their spirit. Science calls this post-traumatic growth. It is the phenomenon where people emerge from trials not weaker, but stronger, more resilient, more compassionate. The very thing that should have broken them becomes the soil where their strength was born. That is a miracle science can measure, but only the soul can fully comprehend. There was a man who lost everything during a natural disaster. His home was gone, his possessions swept away, his future uncertain. In the first days, despair nearly drowned him. But over time, he began to notice something stirring in his spirit. Neighbors came together to help one another. Strangers offered kindness. Families gathered closer. In the ruins, he discovered a strength of community he had never known before. He said later that while he would never wish for the disaster again, he would also never trade what it taught him. The miracle was not just in the rebuilding of houses, but in the rebuilding of hearts. The human soul longs for something more than material change. It longs for meaning, for connection, for purpose. Miracles are not just interventions of the divine, they are invitations to deeper life. They draw you out of numbness, out of autopilot, out of shallow living, and call you into something richer. Sometimes what feels like loss is actually an invitation to discover what matters most. Sometimes what feels like delay is actually the space where character grows strong enough to carry what is coming. Sometimes what feels like unanswered prayer is actually God redirecting your path toward greater good you could not yet see. Spiritual traditions across the world echo the same wisdom. Life is more than survival, it is about awakening. The miracle is not only in getting what you asked for, but in becoming who you were created to be along the way. A prayer for strength does not always remove the battle. It often gives you resilience to face it. A prayer for wisdom does not always erase confusion instantly. It deepens your insight until clarity rises. A prayer for joy does not always cancel grief. It teaches you how to carry grief without losing light. The beauty of this is that miracles are not just single events, they are processes. A caterpillar does not instantly become a butterfly. It enters the cocoon hidden, dissolved into something unrecognizable, and in that mystery, transformation takes place. By the time it emerges, it is not just the same creature with wings, it is something entirely new. The cocoon season may look silent, but it is full of activity. Life itself works like this. Your silent seasons may feel like nothing is happening, but inside, your soul is being reshaped. When you emerge, you will not just have wings, you will be someone who can use them. There's also a psychological dimension to this that is profound. Neuroscientists studying meditation and gratitude practices find that people who cultivate awareness of the present moment often experience dramatic changes in brain function. Stress hormones decrease, empathy increases, and resilience strengthens. These are not small shifts, they are tangible miracles of biology responding to inner posture. The body and soul are intertwined, and what happens in the spirit echoes in the brain and nervous system. This is why inner peace is not just poetic, it is physiological. The miracle of peace can literally rewire your brain. At the same time, wisdom teaches us that miracles often expand beyond the individual. They ripple outward. A single act of kindness can shift an entire community. A word of encouragement can keep someone from giving up. A moment of forgiveness can heal generations of bitterness. You may be waiting for a miracle in your own life, but you may not realize that you already are someone else's miracle. Your strength, your perseverance, your kindness in the midst of struggle may be the very thing someone else needs to believe they can keep going. Sometimes the miracle is not just for you, it is through you. A woman once shared that during her battle with cancer, she felt most alive not when people pitied her, but when she had the chance to encourage others. She said her body was sick, but her spirit was overflowing. She became a source of light to nurses, to fellow patients, to her own family. Her healing was not only in her body, it was in her ability to bring hope even in pain. She later recovered, but she often said that the greater miracle was how suffering had taught her to truly live. That is the kind of miracle that no doctor can prescribe, no money can buy, no circumstance can steal. This truth should stir something inside of you. The miracle you wait for may not come exactly as you imagine. It may not arrive wrapped in the form you prayed for. But when it comes, it will carry a depth you could not have scripted. It will not just change your situation, it will change your vision. It will not just answer your prayer, it will reshape your heart. And when that happens, you will see that the miracle was never only about what you received, it was about who you became. Wisdom is to look at life with eyes wide open, to see not just the obvious, but the hidden, to recognize that every delay, every detour, every challenge carries within it the seed of transformation, to trust that the author of your story knows how to weave threads of pain into patterns of beauty, to believe that your life is not random but purposeful, even when the details feel chaotic. Fear whispers that you are forgotten, that nothing will change, that hope is wasted. Fear tells you that silence is abandonment, that struggle is punishment, that prayers vanish into the air. But wisdom pushes back. Wisdom says silence is gestation, that struggle is growth, that prayers never vanish, but plant seeds you cannot yet see. Wisdom steadies the heart when fear shakes it. Wisdom reminds you that the story is not over, that the page you are on is not the final chapter. Let your heart rest in this. You are not alone in the waiting. The same God who designed galaxies is attentive to your soul. The same force that orchestrates the rhythm of the seasons is guiding your life. The same spirit that breathed life into dust breathes hope into you even now. That presence has not left you, not for a moment, and that presence will carry you into the miracle you were born to walk in. So do not just wait for the miracle. Live as if it is already forming. Train your eyes to notice the sacred in the ordinary. Train your heart to find meaning in the middle, not just at the end. Train your spirit to hold on to peace even in uncertainty. Because when the miracle breaks through, it will not just meet you, it will recognize you, because you will have become the person who is ready to carry it. The truest miracle is not that your life will become easier. The truest miracle is that your soul will become deeper, your heart will become stronger, your wisdom will become sharper, your love will become wider. And when you live from that place, everything else aligns. Doors open, opportunities arrive, healing flows, relationships deepen, strength rises. The outer miracles will follow the inner ones. The river flows from the spring within. So breathe, trust, stay open. The miracle is not distant. It is moving toward you even as you sit here listening, and it is shaping you even in the silence. When it arrives, it will not only change your world, it will remind you that the greatest miracle has always been this, that you are loved, you are seen, and you are not walking this journey alone. There comes a moment when you can no longer sit on the sidelines of your own story. You've walked through waiting, you've learned the weight of silence, you've seen how fear tries to steal destiny, you've discovered the secret power of alignment, and you heard that miracles don't just change circumstances, they change people. All of this has been preparing you for one truth. The hour you have prayed for is not far away, is right at your doorstep. Fear will try to whisper that you are not ready, that you will fail again, that the pain you've endured is proof nothing good can come. Do not give it authority. Fear is loudest right before breakthrough because it knows what's coming. It trembles when you rise. It panics when you dare to believe. It knows that once you step forward, its grip is broken forever. Lift your head, let your spirit feel the weight of what is happening. The God who spun galaxies into being has not forgotten your name. The same hands that shape the stars are shaping a door that only you can walk through. This is not coincidence. This is not accident. This is divine timing colliding with your faith. So make the decision right now. Refuse to shrink back. Refuse to wait for a perfect moment. Refuse to die with your miracle still inside of you. Step into it. Step forward. Because what you have been waiting for is about to erupt into your life. And when it does, it will not just touch you. It will ripple into generations. Your story is shifting. Your miracle is moving. Your time has come.